Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. 3 more people who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan have died. One was in the 60 to 69 age group in the North Central Zone, and 2 were in the Regina Zone in the 70 to 79 and 80 plus age groups. 217 new cases were reported, including 11 in the Northwest. All of those new cases are in the immediate Lloydminster area. 220 people are in hospital, with 8 of those in our zone. 4 variants of concern have been detected in the Northwest. 2,195 cases are active province-wide, with 78 in our zone. More than 225,000 vaccine doses have been administered in the province, including over 15,000 in the Northwest. Over the course of the past year, a lot of people have been looking to pick up on new hobbies or outdoor activities. One of those activities being biking. We spoke with one local business who have seen a boost in customers over the pandemic. Grind & Gears has been open to the border city for many years, and 2020 was one of their best years yet. Jim Taylor, owner of Grind & Gears, noticed a few years ago the interest that border city residents had in biking, but since the pandemic hit, it has skyrocketed.
But we get so many people coming from other places that have moved here from other cities that do bike, and they bike year round. And so seeing that demand, I knew it was there. It was just kind of opening it up, and I was very happy that we were, supported very well by the city, and with open arms, people have loved having a bike and board shop in town.
As the demand for bikes rose in Lloydminster and around the world, there was less stock to offer as products were backed up.
This year's worse than last, and we're hoping to disappoint the least amount of people as possible, where we're just not getting the inventory. Stuff is backed up for months. Last year we didn't have any bikes in August and July. This year we won't probably have a lot of bikes until August or July. So stock levels are pretty low at the moment, but we're doing our best to keep people's bikes running.
Right now, since not a lot of bikes are available, they are reminding customers to hold on to the bikes they already own and look to repair them first.
We're just trying to educate people on what's coming. The biggest thing right now is, if you have a bike, be happy with it. Let's make it work the best you can until your dream bike comes in.
If you don't have a bike yet, your chances aren't completely lost, as Grind & Gears will be receiving some new bikes in the coming weeks.
We are receiving our shipment of Rocky Mountain trail bikes. We are having a shipment of those coming in, and then we will have cruisers and kids bikes towards the end of April. And then we're going to have stock coming probably every 2 to 3 weeks. BMX, cruisers, kids. It's just going to be sporadic, smaller shipments, and they're going to be spread out. So we will have inventory. It's just a matter of when they get here and how soon we get them built and ready for people.
If you aren't looking for a bike, Grind & Gears also currently has skateboards and longboards in stock and offer repairs for scooters. It's time now for this week's Retrospect. Here's Blake Nath.
This week in Retrospect. Back in '96, murder was the case in small town Alberta.
35-year-old Bruce Elliott Stephen was escorted into the courthouse early this morning to face a charge of first-degree murder. He's also charged with assault causing bodily harm dating back to an incident in February involving the victim Dana Ariniak. He also faces a charge of failing to appear in that case. Ariniak's body was found late Tuesday afternoon by her landlord. By Wednesday evening, Stephen, her common-law husband, had been taken in for questioning. He made his first appearance today in front of a packed courtroom. He reserved his plea, and a new court date was set for 2 weeks from today.
Mr. Stephen needed more time to confer with his counsel, Mr. Neufeld of Lloydminster here. And in order to facilitate that, the case was adjourned until the 23rd of April.
Stephen stood as his charges were read to the court, and as the murder charge was read, he collapsed into his chair, put his face in his hands, and began to cry. An autopsy was conducted on the body last week, but RCMP say they are still working on the exact time of death.
And in 2001, a community theater begins construction with its local namesake.
The community team that made this project happen was led by an exceptional individual, Mr. Vic Juba. To recognize this leadership, our city has officially named the new theater the Vic Juba Community Theater. Vic, you deserve this honor.
Gentlemen, if you could start your shovels.
This is a moment in history for the city of Lloydminster, a moment that's been in the making for 16 years. And today, as dignitaries grasped their shovels, they knew this dream has taken flight.
I call this Adrenaline Rush Day. It's been a long time coming. And that represents 5 shovels full of dirt on the new Vic Juba Community Theater.
And that's all for this week in retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
A local artist is looking to help parents get creative with her new ebook, and Eric Bay has more on the artistic resource.
I'm joined today by local artist Brandy Gopher. Brandy, thank you so much for taking some time here today. And you've come out with a very exciting resource for parents, a new ebook called Getting Creative. Can you just tell me a little bit about this book itself?
It's a 14-page downloadable PDF, so you can have it and print it out, and you can really have it as a keepsake forever, because anything you do with your kids, if you're like me, you save it and you hoard it in a little box. But it's really easy. It's accessible from our site. It's at brandyhofer.ca, and it was kind of born out of, well, my audience's top question, really. Sometimes on Sundays I wake up with 23 personal messages, and I like to answer people back because obviously I want to help them, but and I like interacting with people and chatting, and it's fun, but it is time consuming. So our top question is, how are you doing what you're doing? How are you balancing being at home? And I'm full-time. I've been full-time with my 3 boys who are 6 and under, and a 1-year-old and a half. If anyone knows, super busy. It comes with a lot of routine and balance and tips and tricks, which we have in this workbook, because literally for years I've been getting asked the same question, and I love answering, but this is just a great way of being able to do that and help people out. And it's full of love, and it has a list of our favorite activities, which are all things that you probably already have in your home, which is great. So it's affordable, and it's not like those Pinterest, because how can I compete with Pinterest and Google? They have a lot of stuff going on, but this stuff, we have a list of our favorite things that we do, and then you can just use supplies around the house, or even if you don't have them, they're really cheap at a dollar store. So
Yeah, so really then basically what this is just all this information you've been handing out condensed into an easy, almost step-by-step how to do it yourself, and then easily accessible for anybody, especially in a pandemic time, right?
Of course. And I go over how to set up your space, and because obviously not everyone has a room to destroy. And just a place where you can put all of your kids' interests, because not every kid wants to, if you're let's color together. In fact, if I say that to my own children, they say no, straight up. And you want to create with them, and you want to see that side of them. So what I do is have little tricks, especially my first son, he was super into cars. So I integrated that interest into our creative time. And honestly, we made so much amazing stuff just with that one little thing I discovered alone. So yes, I have it condensed, and all the things I've learned from so many years now. I know I look very young, but I've been painting for professionally for 15 years, and I've been doing it with my kids for 6. So I totally have a lot to share.
No, that's great to hear. And now if anybody does want to get their hands on this resource, which obviously very helpful when people are still looking for stuff to do, how can they get their hands on it?
It's really easy. If you head to @BrandyHoferArtist on Instagram, that's probably the easiest place to just see what we're doing. And then all the links you can swipe up, hit a highlight, or visit brandyhofer.ca. It's right there on the banner, like, yay, it's out. It's finally out. But the cool thing about this is it's like the first tiny little baby step of something larger. We're going to be putting out more courses and more bundles and more creative things. And we're working with local people, local teams. We have a team now, it's crazy, to create these things for everyone.
Well, we look forward to hearing about these big announcements you have in the future. And again, really appreciate your time here today, Brandy. Thanks so much.
Located just 45 minutes southeast of Red Deer is the farming community of Torrington. It might not draw much attention if you drove by, but in the heart of the hamlet lies a world-famous museum that's celebrating its 25th anniversary this summer. What's even more surprising is the stuffed gophers inside of it. Tate Laycraft has more.
Listen to the whistle, hear the gopher call.
Torrington's world-famous Gopher Museum is a sleeper hit tourist attraction that typically draws visitors from all over the world every summer. The exhibit features taxidermied gophers, propped and dressed up, acting out scenes from the town's history. But despite celebrating its 25th anniversary this summer, expectations for the museum weren't always high.
The museum itself was originally supposed to be a 5-year project.
Laurel Kurta is a current co-director for the museum, and she's also the daughter of its original curator, Diane Kurta. Her father, meanwhile, built the museum's dioramas.
My parents have dedicated a lot of their time to it, so it's kind of become a second sibling for me, I guess, a third child that my brother and I resent because at times it's gotten more attention than we have.
Due to health concerns, Laurel's mother has been forced to step back from the exhibit. In her absence, volunteers have kept the business running, but with the reality of the pandemic last summer, the future of the museum was in question. That was when Laurel decided to step up to the plate.
I grew up in the town. We took our kids there when they were small, and so yeah, we know that when something closes in Torrington, it doesn't reopen, and we didn't want to see that fate befall the museum.
But Laurel wasn't alone. At her side and co-directing the museum was her own daughter, McKenna. She says there was more to the job than she'd anticipated.
It was weird having to learn all the small details of the history of the museum and how many people are so interested by it. It was pretty cool.
Due to COVID safety protocols, only small groups were allowed inside the museum at a time, but that didn't damper the building's energy.
We would have a lineup out the door, and people are waiting, and nobody likes to wait, I get that. But then you let the next group in, and they just burst out in laughter, and then it just gives everyone oh, okay, we're here for a reason.
As the museum approaches its 25th anniversary, its doors are currently closed due to the pandemic. Laurel Kurta says she's uncertain of a timeline for the exhibit's official reopening, but promises one thing: they will be back. Tate Laycraft, Primetime Local News.
Now our Connor Chan will take a first look at your weather forecast.
Well, thanks very much, Jasmine. As we take a look right now, we are going to see temperatures increasing over the next little bit here, as we saw a little bit of cooler temperatures over the last few days, in the single digits. Now we're starting to get into the double digits. A little bit of cloud coverage right now as we sit at that 11-degree mark, with winds coming in from the west-northwest at 20 kilometers an hour. So it may just drop it down to that single digits there, as we see lots of double digits in and around the area right now. 11 in Lloydminster, as well as in Vegreville, St. Paul, Pierceland, and in Lac La Biche as well. 13 degrees for Wainwright, 14 in Provost, 16 for Macklin, with 13 out in Maidstone right now. And then we also see more 11s in Meadow Lake and St. Walburg, and then 10 degrees all the way up in Isle La Crosse. Now, as we take a look at the satellite radar map, a little bit of showers could possibly be happening overnight tonight. We could see that over the next couple of days or so. Mainly on Thursdays we could see it, but there is a very slight chance of that happening. We could also see a little bit more cloud coverage making its way over here with some lower pressure, so we could see some of those showers potentially happening. Again, there's only that 30% chance that it could could be happening, but as we look ahead to North Battleford overnight, clear skies right now at that 12-degree mark, going into overnight at 2 degrees. A bit of clouds going into tomorrow, a nice balming 19 degrees, just very shy of the 20-degree mark there. The wind will still kind of pick up around the south of 22 kilometers an hour. 1 degree overnight in Cold Lake, going to 16 tomorrow with that sun and cloud mix. And then for us here in Lloydminster, we are going to be a little bit chillier at -1, and tomorrow we'll be at 19 as well, but we won't see a lot of sun. We are going to see a little bit more cloud coverage throughout the day tomorrow. Going into Thursday, we are going back to some sun, but we are going to get a little bit colder with that with the low, of 7 degrees. 12 degrees there on Friday, and the low there at -5 to start the day off there. And with that wind chill, could feel a little bit cooler there, as we are going to see winds kind of continuously getting consistent over the next little bit here. But we are in for a nice weekend as well. But that is a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. The Lloydminster Interval Home Society is encouraging residents to lace up for their second annual virtual 5K. Jace Mackey has more on the event.
Joining me today on Primetime Local News is Leanne Wildman. She is the Resource Development Manager with the Lloydminster Interval Home Society. Now, the Interval Home is putting on Stronger for Her virtual 5K. It's a second annual event. Leanne, can you just tell me, when is this going to be taking place and how is it going to work with a virtual format?
This is our second annual Stronger for Her 5K virtual run, walk, or bike, and it's taking place this June, anytime between June the 9th and the 13th. You get to choose your route, and anytime during that space of time, and registration open today.
So, and from now until April 25th is the early bird registration. Can you just kind of go through the pricing on that and then some of the other registration windows as well?
Absolutely. So for the early bird, you can register for only $25, and you get all of the perks and benefits of any other registrant. And you'll receive a t-shirt and a grab bag and lots of goodies as far as that goes. And then you'll also, this year, we're encouraging all of our participants to use page. So online, you can raise funds as well for the Lloydminster Interval Home Society. And that's all done through the registration, the link that you'll receive.
And you can also sign up as an individual or a group. Can you just talk a little bit about how that works? And also, I understand there's also prizes as well.
Yeah, so this year for individuals, you can sign up on your own, or if you prefer to sign up as a team, whether you want to fundraise as a team, walk as a team, or sign up as a team, but then walk individually, however you wish to make that work best for you. We know that with COVID-19, the rules are always changing. So we encourage everyone to please follow the guidelines that are happening at that time. And there's prizes. So if you have a large team, there's a prize for the most fundraised dollars, and then the small team as well as individuals.
And so, Leanne, this is the second annual event that you've done virtually like this. Can you talk a little bit about last year's event and then the decision to do something again this year?
Yeah, last year was actually kind of spur of the moment. We were looking for fun ideas to engage with the community. We had to, at that time, give up our children's gala that had been a long time standing event for us. And we were just looking at ways that we could engage with our community and supporters. And we had an outstanding success with that. Over 160 participants signed up last year. And I think our registration was only open for like 3 weeks. And everyone jumped on board and did that. So we looked at that and the success of it and really wanted to up our game this year. So we started planning earlier. We got some community sponsors on board to help us out. And so we started our registration early and are really looking forward to all that's to come.
And the Interval Home Society is also selling Stronger for Her t-shirts that you can just buy even if you're not taking part in the walk as well.
So every participant will receive a t-shirt, and then there's also an opportunity to purchase either a crew neck sweatshirt or a hoodie. And so we've designed those with our participants in mind, or if you just want to sport one of these nice hoodies or crew necks, you could just go online and purchase those right from there.
And the proceeds of this are going to be going to support the Lloydminster Interval Home Society. Can you just talk a little bit about the work that the Interval Home Society does and how important it is to be able to get some revenue, especially during a time when you guys haven't been able to do traditional fundraisers?
Yeah, absolutely. So Lloydminster Interval Home Society's been in Lloydminster for 41 years now, and we rely a lot on community support through fundraising and multiple avenues, and we have very generous donors, which we're grateful for. And so to be able to participate in events like this and to provide them to the community is really important to us and our efforts. The programs that it supports range all the way from the emergency shelter, our transitional housing, the Lloydminster Community Youth Center, community programs, public education. All of those lie underneath our Lloydminster Interval Home Society umbrella. Over and above, we also have our For the Interval store, which is also a huge fundraiser for us. So this 5K is really going to help support those programs and give us that boost that we need.
And for people who are interested in taking part in this 5K, how are they able to register?
Please just go online to our website. Right on the front page, if you just scroll down a little bit, there's a link and you can just follow the registration right from there. So www.intervalhome.org, and it's right on the homepage, and you just click register and you can find out all those details right there.
Awesome, Leanne. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me today.
Thanks for having us.
Now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
As spring starts to roll around, so does the season start to Canada's national sport, lacrosse. Evan Kenny has more on how teams around the Wheatland Lacrosse Association will be adjusting this season.
Teams all over the region are in preparation for the 2021 lacrosse season. After missing out on last year, Wheatland Lacrosse Association President Michael Groves is ready to get back on the floor.
I'm getting excited for the start of the season, I guess.
Teams are already practicing, and the hope is to have tryouts on April 15th.
Making our teams up with the start of regular season starting May 1st, depending on what AHS and Saskatchewan health government officials allow us to do.
COVID-19 has obviously created challenges for teams around the Wheatland. Groves says recruiting has been one of the biggest.
This year it could be tough to recruit players as it's not a primary sport in Alberta or Saskatchewan. That's what we really have to focus on, is trying to recruit. A lot of our players come from hockey, and with hockey being shut down really from December on, parents and kids are reluctant to register, not knowing what the future holds for a season.
Registration is still open. Groves also added junior teams in the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League are preparing to start the weekend of April 24th. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Now our Connor Chan will take another look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. Taking a look right now, still sitting around the 11-degree mark as we see lots of 10s in the west as we take a first look out there. 10 in Athabasca, Whitecourt, and Edson. 13 in Red Deer right now with 12 in Rocky Mountain House. 11 degrees right now in Jasper as well. A little bit warmer in some areas in Saskatchewan, like Saskatoon and Prince Albert, both sitting at 15 degrees. 14 in Melfort, and then 12 for North Battleford, and 11 in Meadow Lake as well. You'll see 12 degrees also in Cold Lake. As we take a look at temperatures up in the northern areas in Saskatchewan right now, single digits right for the most part at 8 in La Loche, 9 for Buffalo Narrows, 10 for La Ronge there, 4 in Walston Lake and South End, -2 in Stony Rapids. So some areas are getting a little bit cooler than others, as well as we see -2 in Fort Chipewyan, 11 degrees in Fort McMurray, 8 in Peace River, as well as 3 degrees in High Level. I thought that was an 8 there. Definitely kind of was a little bit deceiving there for a second there. 6 degrees in Slave Lake, and then 7 in Grand Prairie. Now, as we take a look to southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, very warm there once again. 15 in Lethbridge, 16 for Medicine Hat. We see 14 in Calgary, and then 13 degrees in Coronation. Now taking a look to southern Saskatchewan, very warm in Moose Jaw and Regina and Yorkton areas at 17 and 16 degrees there respectively. 14 in Swift Current with 15 in Kindersley, as well as we see 15 degrees in Estevan. Now as we look across the rest of the country, not a lot of cities are seeing the same results we are here in the prairies. Quebec City sitting at 9 degrees, very cool in St. John's at 2 degrees, 9 in Halifax and 13 in Toronto, all with some cloud coverage and of course some fog in St. John's. We see 13 degrees in Vancouver, -8 up in Yellowknife, seeing some flurries right now, and then -8 also we see up in Whitehorse. So the Northwest Territories are still seeing a little bit of some flurries and cooler temperatures. Now as we take a look at tomorrow, we are going to see one of the warmer days in a long time for us here in the immediate Lakeland area. 19 degrees is our expected daytime high, and we'll see that throughout Lloydminster, Marwayne, Vermilion, and we'll also see 16s up in Bonnyville, St. Paul, and Cold Lake as well. 18 degrees for Vegreville and Wainwright tomorrow, 21 in Macklin for tomorrow, so it'll be one of the warmer spots in the immediate area. 19 in North Battleford tomorrow, 17 in St. Walburg, and 19 also we'll see in Green Lake. Now as we take a look here at the next 7 days, I did mention there is a chance we could see some showers overnight tonight, about a 30% chance, but that could also be what we see Thursday as well in the early parts of the morning and up until around that 9 a.m. mark, where again 30% chance of those showers actually happening. So 7 degrees on Thursday, a little bit clearer skies, 12 degrees on Friday, and then we'll get to Saturday. We are at a high of 8 degrees as we are going to start to see some increased cloud coverage there, and also cooler mornings as well starting on Friday, back in the minuses there. 7 on Sunday with cloud coverage, 9 on Monday, and then 10 degrees as we get back to some warmer temperatures on Tuesday. We'll still be fairly cooler in the mornings for the next little bit here as we are still in those minuses. That is a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with another pet project this week with Becca Lawrence from the Lloydminster and Community SPCA. How are you guys doing today, Becca? Who's this?
We're doing really good. This guy up here, this is Rusty. So he is our oldest resident, I would say right now. He's coming in at about 6 years old. And he was surrendered. He was adopted from us back when he was a baby. And then he was returned to us, unfortunately, because they had a baby, and then when she kind of started running around and getting a little more active, he unfortunately didn't care for that too much, so he didn't like the baby. He would scratch and stuff like that. So unfortunately he can't go to a home with small rambunctious little kids. He's more of a laid back kind of guy that likes his quiet time. So we would recommend a home that's, older kids or no kids, just an adult home kind of thing. But he's actually really good with other cats as well too. He's always been with another male cat, but we think if any cats are good with each other, then I think he'll be happy with any companion like that.
That's understandable, Becca. Some cats just don't like the overt attention that kids give.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't want to be picked up and hauled around, but they're perfectly fine to sit on your lap or to hang out with the dog or what have you. So yeah, it sounds like any home without small children would be definitely benefited by having Rusty. Beautiful.
That's right, yeah.
So how are you guys doing for animal numbers in total? Like, are you guys pretty full right now? How's the space going?
Yeah, we keep getting that gradual trickle in from our waiting list, which is really nice. I know it's warmer weather, so obviously, there's not that huge concern with the animals that are out and about, which is fine. And, like I said, we're getting that gradual trickle in. We have started to see a little bit more of our, kittens trickling in as well, too. So I think we probably have about 5 or 6 litters in foster right now that are waiting to be old enough to come up for adoption. So we should start seeing some babies here in probably the next few weeks for sure. And then our dogs are doing really well too. We don't have too many for dogs.
Well, that's great to hear, but you know, with the numbers obviously assuming to be increasing soon, it's a good time for your volunteers to start. And we were talking about that a little bit off camera, Becca, but you guys have obviously been looking for volunteers for the spring season. And how is your hunt going right now?
Really, really good. So, I mean, like we said last week, you know, I had a whole pile of volunteers waiting to start. So I sent everything off, and we've gotten a lot of responses. So I think in the next week or so here too, we're going to have a lot of our volunteers trickling in as well too. So we're really happy about that.
Beautiful. That's great to hear. And you guys did have a fundraiser over the weekend. You guys had the Easter photos. So how did that all go? Did you guys raise, you know, a good amount of money?
Yeah, I think we raised about $400. So that was really, really about more than what we were expecting. So we were quite happy with that. And I think that was our first time really in quite some time anyway, doing Easter photos. So, you know, it seemed the public really seemed to enjoy that. So I think it'll be something that we want to continue for further years. But yeah, no, it was really nice. And, you know, obviously kept it COVID safe and had 2 different photo booths inside and outside. So you could choose if you wanted to wear your mask, or outside you didn't have to wear a mask.
Wonderful. That's so great to hear, Becca. I can't wait until the next fundraiser. So you were mentioning earlier, again off camera, that the SPCA is actually in need of garbage bags right now. And you know, I love to ask what items you guys are looking for every week. So obviously, garbage bags are top of the list this week.
Yeah, that's obviously something that we go through quite a bit every day. I think at least 3 to 5 garbage bags a day we go through. So we go through a box quite quickly. So yeah, the size that we typically use all the time is 121 liters, so that fits all of our garbage bags. And yeah, so that's pretty much what we are most in need of right now.
Beautiful. So anybody out there who's doing your shopping this week, you know, if you're feeling extra kind, maybe pick up an extra bag of garbage bags, especially, you know, if you happen to see some on sale while you're at Walmart or Superstore or the Co-op, wherever you do your shopping. And one last thing, while we just have about a minute left here, Becca, you guys, you're about to start, hopefully soon, your CCAN painting, and we talked about it in the fall and kind of over the winter a little bit, but you guys have really been looking forward to this because you're getting in local artists to the Lloydminster area to paint your new outdoor CCAN. So why don't you just give us a quick update on how that's coming along?
Yeah, so I mean, that was something that, you know, obviously we got all these CCANs and that semi-trailer donated last year for our extra storage, which was awesome. And then we painted them up white and ready for the artists, and then kind of summer got a hold of us and we missed out. But so I'm going to try and plan here right away to get that started, since it's warming up really nice, and hopefully do it in May. But yeah, you know, like local artists and even some kids groups we're going to look at too as well.
Beautiful. So anybody out there in the community who would like to get involved, you know, certainly get in touch with Becca. You know, it's a nice thing to everybody get together and to create something, you know, to put on display in the community, especially for a good cause like the SPCA.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunately all the time we have this week, Becca, but I want to thank you once again for joining us, and we'll speak with you again next week.
Thanks for having us.
Manage your waste and recyclables with Quick Pick Waste Disposal. 100% locally owned and proud to serve and support the communities we call home. Quick Pick, the convenient solution to avoid pollution.
Well, joining us today here on Primetime Local News is Canadian country artist Sasha, joining us again. I know we're talking today about your new music video for the song Standards from your new EP called The Best Thing. Talk about the process of that music video and what it was like to film that, and, you know, if it was filmed during the COVID pandemic. Talk about some of that, you know, safety precautions or just that experience as a whole, filming a music video during COVID.
It was interesting because the music video was a blast, but unlike my previous music video, Cheers, you know, we couldn't have like a full crew or a full staff. So it was very minimal people on set, including my dog. And it was just, we still got the message across the way we needed to. We didn't need like, you know, a whole bunch of extras for this music video, the song's Standards. So we got the message across with just 3 candidates or 3 guys and my little dog Trooper and myself, of course.
Now, of course, there are lots of great songs on this EP, but today, we're going to specifically talk about the song Standards and, talk about the song and what it's about for those that aren't familiar with it, and what are some things you hope people take away from it when they listen to it.
Yeah, Standards is basically, it's a title that speaks of itself and encouraging people to, stick to their guns and keep their standards high and not to settle when it comes to relationships, and, not to lower the bar so anyone can jump over. We've got a lot of heartbreak songs right now, in country music. And how about we get a song that helps us to avoid a few, maybe this song will help hopefully avoid going down Heartbreak Hotel. But yeah, so just, finding people that value your standards as well is important. But, the song is really catchy, and it's just got a really cool delivery sonically. So I think a message like that is going to be pretty easy to stick in one's mind and make them think a little, but at the same time, just having fun.
I know with country music, it's either usually sometimes about heartbreak or relationships. So with the song Standards in particular, was it something that, you went through personally, or you maybe knew someone who had that kind of experience? So how did that song come to be?
This song was actually written by Emily, Karen Kozowski, and Mackenzie Porter. This song is actually a pitch that came to me, and the second I heard it, I was like, this has got me all over it, and it best represents who I am and what I'm about. And so yeah, it was as if I could have written the song, because I just love it. It's something that totally suited me, so I was so happy when they sent it my way. And yeah, I mean, you go through journey, you go through life and relationships, and to get to the right one, especially in this day and age, you're gonna have to have some standards.
Now, of course, this is your second album that you released. So talk about the growth as an artist and what you've seen yourself from then to now, both personally and professionally.
Oh my goodness, light years. It's like, right now, like even just within the past year, I had a top 50 on Canadian country Billboard charts, my first top 40 on radio, and I'm a part of CMT's Next Women of Country in Nashville. And it's like, all these things that I've ever dreamed of are coming to fruition, like within the year or so. And it's been a long time in between, you know what I mean? Like, it's not an overnight thing. Like you said, if you can go back to the date of my very first EP, if it's even up online still, it's been quite a long time coming. So, the EP's just garnered over 1 million streams now within less than 8 months across all streaming platforms. And it's just like, looking back, it's like, wow, it's been quite the journey and quite the development process for sure. And as an independent artist, where you don't have a big team to point you in the right direction, it's like, you kind of have to figure things out for yourself. So I've come a long way.
And one last thing, Sasha, before we go, what are some things that you're working on that you can share with us right now?
Well, currently I've been writing a lot. A lot of the writes have had to be over Zoom, but I've been writing with quite a few credible writers in Nashville and in Canada over Zoom. I'm excited, and my songwriting team here. So I'm pretty excited about what's coming and putting out new music. I just learned today that I was nominated for a Rising Star from the Canadian Country Music Association of Ontario. So that's going to be amazing. I'm so honored that I'm a nominee for the Rising Star, and yeah, I'm just getting ready to put out new music again, and hopefully head to Nashville as soon as it's safe to do so.
Sasha, I really appreciate your time today. The EP, The Best Thing, is out on all major streaming platforms to go have a listen to, and the music video for the song Standards is on her YouTube page. So Sasha, thank you very much for joining us. Much appreciated.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.